Listen, you know the podcast landscape has transformed completely over the last couple of years, right? You see, it's no longer about putting out episodes or hoping people listen. It's not about that no more. Some people seem to still think that, but it's just not about that. See, the most successful podcasters in the world today are creating vibrant communities around their content. Now, see, for me, that's one of the things that you have to sit back and have to pay attention to. These communities are being put together, and millions of people, if not, well, let me say this, thousands of people, if not millions, are joining these communities because, A, they want to follow the podcast guru, or they want to learn how to put a podcast together. So one of the things that I've started to do is exactly that. I started to put a podcast community together. Here's why it's important to sit here and start you a community for podcasting in 2025. Now, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to build your own podcast community from the ground up with all the latest strategies and tools that are working for podcasters like me that can work for you. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Anthony Porter, and in today's video, we're going to dive into something that is absolutely exploding right now, like right now, to this day, right to this point. So with that being said, what we need to do is we need to do this, sir. We're going to build a thriving podcast community step by step in 2025. I'm going to walk you through it. All right. You have to choose the platform that you want to choose. But for me, mine is going to be built later on down the line as we get finished with this to go high level. My community is going to be about helping one person empires be built through podcasting. Okay. So let's talk about this. All right. Now, why are communities so important? And why do communities matter? See, before we jump into how, let's quickly cover why communities are being built and how essential they are for podcasting in 2025. The listening experience has evolved from passive to petitionary, okay? What that means is people want to be more engaged, and the fans want to be engaged with the creators and the followers and the listeners, and they just don't want to consume the content no more. They want to be a part. They want to be right there with you. So the fans are literally trying to be a part of everything that we do. And that's great. That is so much better for your engagement because, see, once you start engaging and your fans become more in tune with you, they become your biggest advocates, right? Now, third, platforms have shifted to prioritize engagement metrics and their recommendations and algorithms. Building a community directly impacts your growth potential. Think about that, all right? So, and finally, monetization opportunities have expanded beyond traditional sponsorships. See, back then, you used to just do a video or do a podcast or whatever, and once you got up to 1,000 downloads, somebody sponsored you, or they looked at your podcast and see how well your listeners was engaging with you, and they wanted to get on there because they wanted to get their ads out. It's grown to a whole new different ballgame. So you have to understand, as the game changes, so should you. Okay. See, communities unlock new revenue streams like mentorship programs, exclusive content, and community-driven products. Think about it. If you have, so for me, we have a community, and you are a barber, and you might have a product that you want to get out to the community, but you don't have the budget to literally start it to that particular point. What do you do? I tell you what you do. You start talking about it. You start advertising without being salesy. Just start striking up conversations. Get to know who you're dealing with and become, that go-to authority figure. And once you become that go-to authority figure, everything seems to flow smooth. So the podcasts are seeing explosive growth this year all have one thing in common. They've built communities that transform casual listeners into dedicated fans. So if you're with me, let's keep rocking together, all right? We're gonna keep doing this thing. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about number one. So defining your community vision. You gotta have a vision. Everything starts with a vision. And if you don't understand that everything starts with a vision, you're gonna get left in the dust, all right? So your first step is defining what type, and I'll say this again, what type of community you wanna build. This starts with understanding your podcast unique value proposition. Now, identifying your podcast core purpose. Is it to educate, entertain, inspirational, or problem solving? What transformation are you giving your listeners? What are you offering? Like, what is it that your listeners can get from you that they understand? See, for me, it's I'm going to help. I'm helping transform creators, coaches, podcasters, build a one-person empire through podcasting. This is an evergreen market. Believe it or not, man, podcasting is one of the dopest situations out right now. So you have to think about that, man. You really have to sit back. You really have to pay attention. And so once you figure out what transformation you offer your listeners, the next thing you need to do is you need to find your ideal community members. But go beyond the basic demographics. Don't just look for where they at, who they are, how old they are, what race they are. No, we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we know what their goals are, challenges, and their values could be. Would you like to see a community full of people like you? Or would you like to see a community full of people who are just there because they just there? All right, so once you start defining your community member, your ideal community members, the third thing in that particular statement is you need to, what would make them want to participate daily? So you got to make sure that you have something that is going to want them to engage. They want to engage. They want to be a part. They want to be the ones who say, okay, this is what Podcast Empire Builders is. Did I give it out too early? Maybe I did. Did I? Anyway, maybe that's what they want. They want to see what the Podcast Empire Builders is about. We're building empires through podcasting, not only audio, but video. So you have to think about that. Think about how you can transform your specific service, product, whatever it is that you do niche, into a podcast to help you get more eyes on your product or service. Now, number 3, you need to establish your community principles. This is where this could be where someone dropped the ball. What kind of culture do you want to create? What behaviors will you engage or disengage with? And how will you ensure psychological safety? What that third one means is when the community's up and running, we're not having that. See, when you build communities, you want to build communities for support. One thing we are not doing here now is supporting. All right, other folk do it, but we gotta start supporting. Podcasters, listen. Let me give you a small little hint on why podcast communities are so important. If you have a podcast, whether you have a small audience or a large audience, big brands is looking for ways to cut costs. So once you start cutting costs, guess what happens? They're gonna look for somebody who got a small market, but this market is talking about something that I'm engaged with. Let me holler at them. All right, so you gotta remember that. Now, number 4, you want to set measurable objectives. You want to have growth targets, be realistic. Quality over quantity works all the time, right? Engagement with your metrics, that you're going to track. You have to be able to know who is engaging with you, where they're from. And then you need to be able to engage back with them. Don't just be like some of these Instagram channels that I see that have millions of followers and they only follow 2 people. That don't work for me. You a bot, or you just want people to just, I'm going to get these folk because I want to get my followers up. No. All right. And then daily delivery milestones. If I learned this from client communities, if you are not engaged with your community every single day, like you don't literally have to go live every day. But if you're not engaging with your community, then guess what? You're not doing your job. All right. Remember this. Most successful podcast communities in 2025 have a clear purpose beyond just discussing episodes. You're building a business. Most people don't know how to build a business for podcasting. Did you not know that podcasting is a business? It's not just where you get on the mic. If you look at some of the podcasts now, look at all the people on YouTube who have the faceless YouTube podcast channels where they're discussing like hip hop things and crime things and relationship things. Those particular pocket, people don't want to show their face, and I get it. Some people are uncomfortable doing that. I want you to see me. Gray hair and all. I don't want you to see me. Now, again, the more you feel deep, or the more you fulfill the deeper need for the connection around the shared interests, challenges, and aspirations, man, you have just made yourself a 6 to 7 figure lifestyle that you want to choose. Okay, so number 2, we're gonna keep this thing moving, man. We're gonna keep this thing moving. Select your community platforms. Now, a lot of people don't understand this, and I'm just throwing out the ones that could help you budget-wise. Like for me, I use Go High Level. I'm not promoting Go High Level for my community. No, I'm not doing that. And the reason I'm not doing that is because I'm not ready to do that. All right, so what I mean by promoting it, I don't have an affiliate link for Go High Level. All right, but here's the thing: the platform landscape has evolved significantly in 2025. Here's how you can choose the right one for your podcast. Like, you have to, this is where you got to dig down in your soul, and you have to be able to say, this is what I want to do. This is how I need to do this. All right. So you need to have one centrally location of where your community is going to live. That's it. The options in 2025, they simple. If you ain't got no bread and you want to get started like that, man, you got Discord, you got Podgate, you got Circle, and then you can have a custom community app. All of these work perfect for you. But you just have to be able to understand now, if you by chance want to have like a supplemental platform. So these are like the ones that go beyond the main hub. Consider these as like secondary spaces, right? So back in the day, remember the thing was Clubhouse. Twitter Spaces are perfect for listening to live podcasts. Yeah, X, whatever you want to call it. X is deeper inside of there. You just got to figure out how to use it. Okay. Now, you got to also remember, visual content sharing is very important. If you are not promoting your podcast or your community on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you're not doing your job. So you have to be able to, you really have to be able to share your story. Sharing your story, people buy off emotion, man. People buy off emotion. So now we talked about that. Listening interaction tools. For me, I use two things. All right, I use two simple things. I use Riverside FM to record and live stream, and I use Opus Clip. My long-term content is made through Riverside. I edit it in Riverside. I add other stuff with DaVinci Resolve, but my long term is through Riverside. My clips used to be chopped up through Riverside, but I like Opus Clip because Opus Clip allows me to schedule. It gives me the hashtags. It gives me the viral content titles. It gives me everything that I want. It gives me how you want your videos. If you want your videos to look like Alex Samazi's or Mr. Beast, Opus Clip, listen. I'll leave a link to the description to both of these down below. Give them a spin. Now I'm leaving you a link. And I'll leave you the link because I want you to take it for a spin. I want you to take it for a test drive. I want you to understand that making podcasts easier for you, but making your community even easier is way better. All right. So now, number 3, we want to talk about platform selection criteria. When you're choosing your platform, evaluate them based on certain things. First thing you want to do is where your target audience already spends time. You want to find out, you want to see how this working. Or you want to look at the technical barriers, all right? Specific audiences and entry positions, you need to know all of that. You want to know about moderation capabilities and tools. You want to know about content delivery features. You want to be able to integration. I say integrate, but it's really integration. You want integration with your existing podcast infrastructure, and then you want to have monetization options. Now that's what's popping in 2025, right? Hey, these platforms work very well. I've taken a couple of them for a spin, but as of right now, I shoot with Riverside, I chop with Opus Clip, I upload with YouTube, I use Red Circle. I can record an episode. I can record 4 episodes today and have them ready to be scheduled within 2 hours. Then I got nothing but time to come up with social media as I did in lines on a Sunday. That's part of the content, podcast content creation operation. So we'll talk about that at a later date. Section number 3. Hey, you got to have community content strategy. When you're create sustainable content strategies for your community is crucial. It's definitely crucial if you're creating this, right? Here's how I approached it, and here's how you should approach it. You should have a community content calendar. You should have things where you're going to develop a rhythm, a constant rhythm with, weekly discussions, regular community actions like Monday interactions, Friday wins, schedule interactive sessions. Basically what you want to do is you want to have monthly meetings of live recordings. You want to have monthly meetings, monthly live streams of answer questions. And then you might want to throw a special event, like you might want to host a community challenge. You might want to host a virtual event, anything like that. Okay. So you got to start thinking, you are building a community. You are building a business, and building a one-person business starts with situations like this. This is not the only piece. This is just a small fraction of the puzzle. Now, number 2, we need to talk about engagement formats that work. What's working in 2025 right now? Micro challenges, short challenges with community bonds. Most people was doing 30-day challenges, man. 3-day challenge will knock it out the park. All right, you want to collaborate with other episodes? That's simple. Somebody in your group? That's simple. Community input? That's simple. Think about it. Listener spotlight series. Highlight a member. Highlight a single member. And that way somebody say, oh man, if he did Cheryl like that, he might pick me. Or she might pick me. They might pick me. All right. Go behind the scenes. We're gonna get some go behind the scenes, the production. Like right now, off to my right. To y'all looks left, but to me it's right. I'm recording some go behind the scenes so I can use some of these clips for IG. Yes, that's what you do. Shout out to everybody over the Solopreneur Chronicles PC on IG. Shout out to I Am Anthony Porter over on IG. These clips will be up pretty soon. Behind the scenes, I want this. What I really want, these fell apart. I was going to record me recording me. Technology, AI is doing this thing. All right. Next, you want to have a content contribution framework. Empower community members to contribute. You got to have clear guidelines for users to generate content. You want to have a recognizable system for valuable contributors, pathways for members to basically step into leadership roles, tools to make your content creation and sharing work better, purposely, all together, all in one. All right. Now, repurpose content. Boy, I'm telling y'all, repurposing content is the way to go. Believe it or not, this particular video is going to probably have enough content to last me for a couple weeks. I'm going to make audiograms out of this. I'm going to make short form videos out of this. I'm going to make newsletter posts out of this. I'm going to make posts out of this. One video. That's it. This video right here. Loving it. All right. Remember to engage with your podcast community. I'm telling you, engagement. Consistency is the key. Communication is the key. Community is part of my 3 C's. All right, now section number 4, grow your community, growing your community strategy. Basically what I'm saying is you got to have strategies to grow your damn community. All right, so podcasting, community conversion, create compelling community call to actions for every episode. I.e., if you enjoying this episode, please click the link below. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, check out the Solopreneur Chronicles, the podcast.com website. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok at Solopreneur Chronicles PC. Follow me personally over on Instagram at I Am Anthony Porter. See what I'm saying? Call to actions throughout everything, okay? Now, number 2, you want to have some strategic partnerships. Collab with other podcasters, but be smart. And here's why you need to be smart. That's a beautiful thing. But if you collaborate with community leaders, if you collaborate with clothing brands or small businesses, your reach has just reached out and touched someone just like that and pulled it back. And then have some guest community takeovers with some relevant experts. If you get somebody to come onto your podcast and you let them do their thing, and that's what they gonna talk about, listen, whatever subject is, helping you with your credit. People tune in. Here's the rip around for that. What a lot of people don't understand. If I host that particular show, for what I do with Riverside, when I'm done, I'm going to send that person, that guest, the links, all the videos, edit it out, everything that they need. They can use it on their social media. Now guess what happens? The people watching them and following them, you gotta be smart about this thing, man. And that's how you get them into your community. Because once they come over and check out your podcast, in each episode, again, a call to action. If you want to learn how to podcast, if you want to learn how to grow a one-person business using a podcast, click the link below. Join the Podcast Empire Builders free community. Let's get some of this tutelage together. All right? Let's inspire others to be like us. That's what you do. Don't forget, you got to understand the algorithm. You got to learn the algorithm tactics. All right? Optimize your stuff for platforms that are super major, like Podmatch. Optimize your podcast for that. Make sure you build it to be on that level and it can elevate and scale to that level, all right? Now, leverage hashtags for your community like on TikTok and Instagram. Make sure you put that in there. Hashtag Podcast Empire Builders. Hashtag Podcast Community. All right, utilize podcast community directories that launched in later dates. So listen, I'm gonna tell you something. This is how you go about building relationships. When you get inside of these other groups, don't just go in there trying to just spam people. Go in there, and it's crazy because this is how this goes. You go in there. You go into the community. All right? I hope y'all, man, if you ain't got an opinion, luckily we recording this. If you go in there and somebody asks a question, somebody responds to the question, respond to the person who answered the question. Don't respond to the person who asked the question. Respond to the person who answered the question. So let's just say I say, hey, today I want to ask this question. How do you build a community in 2025 for podcasting? And let's just say a buddy of mine, we're going to use his name. His name is Willie White. Willie comes in and says, well, building a community in 2025, you have to be able to understand the algorithm growth tactics. You have to be able to engage with your community. And then, i.e., a person like Andre Gardner would say, if he's trying to build his community, he's going to go and he's going to respond to Willie's comment. And by him responding to Willie's comment, guess what happens? Now, Andre has shown that he can sit here, have a respectable opinion about what Willie said, all of the emoji files and all of that. And then what he has done is he's drawn the eyes. Now, if you do this, like Ryan Struman said, you pick 7 people, you do this 7 times, you answer 7 questions for 7 hours. So you're going to do this once every hour. That way you don't get blacked out over on Instagram. I'm using Instagram, right? So when it's all said and done, you've answered 49 to 50 plus questions. What you have done is, in one day, matter of fact, you do it for 7 days straight. What you have done is you have put the eyes of my notes on you. All right, now, again, I'm telling you, man, some of this stuff, you just got to listen and understand it, okay? Now, retention-focused approaches. Develop progressions. You have to develop progressions and involvement paths for your members. I create recognizable systems for the consistent participants. Establish clear value milestones in their journey. What I'm thinking about doing, and I'm not going to tell you, but I'm thinking about doing something that every time somebody reaches a milestone, I'm going to send them a gift in my community. Because my community be up and running. Tentative date is July the 4th. I want to make sure everything is right. Content. So when you come in, content start. All right. So and then I want to implement some, community health monitoring. Again, I'm not gonna have nobody in my community bullying nobody. You want to bully somebody, check this out. I'm gonna come and see you. Not physically. I'm going to come and see you and say, look here, this ain't what this is about. Don't be spamming because somebody doesn't want to purchase. You get in there, you network, then you figure out you gotta learn how to be a salesman without being salesy. All right, now you got to come up with some monetization strategy. And that's number 5. So think about it. Community-based monetizations have evolved significantly in 2025. Already, here we are going into June, 6 months. 6 months and it's popping. All right, you want to have some tiered membership models. You want to have some community-powered products. You want to have some sponsored community activities. You also want to have some value exchange models. See, all of these play very well together. They work together in like a pillar situation, but individually, they still powerful. Together, they napalm. Okay? Now, this is the key to keeping your communities engaged. It's not just marketing channels. I want you to understand that this is revenue streams. This is how you build things. All right. Now, the tools and technology, we talked about that already. All right. Number 6, I use Riverside. You have things like Discord, Buzzsprout. Well, let's back up. Podcast hosting, community hosting. You want to get in there. You want to have community management tools like CRMs. Like I think Mod Squad Pro is strictly for scaling a community. All right. You want to have content flow. These are certain things. You want to have a member journey. You want to have analytics. You want to have something that it takes care of everything that you do. For me, it's Go High Level. All right. Now, Go High Level is slowly but surely catching up to what everybody else is doing. There's not many things out here for podcasting. So why can't I be the first to just put my stamp of improvement on Go High Level? You feel me? I hope you do. Okay, so you want to have some audio enhancement tools. You want to have some AI-assisted community tools. Listen, AI's here. Learn it, quit being afraid of it, don't run from it. Please don't. And then you want to have some integration solutions. All of these are super, because listen, you got to have email, you got to have way to collect money. You got to have all of these integrations. You got to have these AI-powered solutions because you want to have onboarding. Listen, a lot of the stuff, if you're starting out, you have a community, you have a podcast, you have a business. Those is the perfect triangle. Those are the perfect diagrams to fit your circle, okay? That's the perfect problem is this. A lot of times you gotta pay people. AI is your new virtual assistant. You gotta train AI. I just signed up for Claude today. I've been hearing about it. Bro, Claude done took it to a whole nother level. ChatGPT 4 and pretty much 5 is on its way, but I'm telling y'all, man, AI is here. You better learn it. You better learn it. All right. Now, we're going to talk about some community management best practices. And once again, you got to establish clear guidelines. Don't let nobody come in trying to take over, bullying your situation. And whoever you have as a moderator, whoever you have as you have a couple moderators. Let's just say that. Have a couple of them, and then the rules will be established, and you gotta have people who have no nonsense. All right, build a moderation strategy. You gotta have clear values, develop the team. You gotta have people who are committed. Also, they have to understand as you grow, they grow. So basically, like, they might be starting for free, but you might have a little extra money every now and then. Say, hey, look, I don't have much, but I want to kick you down this. And then as I start to grow, I'll kick you down that. See, it don't hurt to pay your moderators. You just don't want to pay a whole team. If you're trying to make 7 figures, you're not going to make 7 figures because guess what? You got to pay the person to run the CRM. You got to pay the person to run the community. You got to pay the person over here. You got to pay the person over there. So you want to be able to make sure you have all of your ducks in a row and everything is rolling pretty much fine for you. Now, make sure you're fostering your psychological safety. Please do. We don't want nobody getting bullied. We don't want nobody to be in groups. And they start acting stupid, your group gets flagged. I don't care what platform you're on. Once that happens, it's hard to come back. So, and then measuring your community health, track your engagement. We're not looking at the volume, we're looking at the engagement. You gotta monitor the trends to, don't just pop out. Do your research, figure out what's going on. And then, make sure you are a great leader in your community. Period, point blank. You got to make sure you are a great leader. Now, building a podcast community in 2025 requires more than ever before, but the rewards are tremendous. Now, remember, the most successful podcast communities aren't built overnight. It takes time. Everything takes time. If you see people popping out that you didn't know was in business and all of a sudden they rocking, they either doing one or two things. They've been doing it for a while, and they've been doing it for a long while. One or two things. You just keep it at a buck with you, okay? But be clear about your message, be clear about your community, be clear about your guidelines. Now, if you found this video helpful, you know what you got to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, turn on everything that you need so you don't miss the next conversation. We're having a conversation, man. Conversation Wednesdays, all right? Conversation Wednesdays over here. So drop me a comment with your biggest questions about building a podcast community. And guess what? Your boy here, not a bot. Your boy. I might reach out to you. I might jump on a call. Not everybody gonna get on the call, but we might just jump on the call because I want you to see me face to face. I'm gonna answer your questions, all right? But once again, man, I appreciate y'all giving me y'all's time today. Hey, I tell you what, keep doing what you're doing, keep building, keep growing. That one person empire is only one episode away. And I'm gonna see y'all when I see y'all, man. Peace.